Typical game in the SEC picture here in Gainesville. The Florida Gators, winners of 2 straight, hosting the Ole Miss Rebels on a 2-game mini slide. Something's got to give here tonight. With that, we take a look at the standings. Gators 4-6 in the SEC. Ole Miss 6-4, just outside the top 4. So a win tonight for Ole Miss would tie them at 7-4 at Mississippi State, a team they have coming up on Sunday. With that, we welcome you courtside, Brittany Davis. I'm Kyle Crooks. So this is a key game for both of these teams. Momentum. Florida trying to get into the NCAA tournament picture. For Ole Miss, this is a chance to get in that top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. For Florida, beating the number 5 team in the SEC right now would be really huge on their home court. They need this win to propel them for the rest of the SEC season.
Meanwhile, Leilani Correa, she has just been sensational all year. Take a look at her numbers, 24 per game in SEC play.
And she had 33 against this Ole Miss team at Ole Miss. Florida's going to need every bit of all those points here tonight for her to lead her team to a win here today, but she really does do it all.
33 points in that first meeting on January 25th. Meanwhile, Marquisha Davis, she was great the first time these two teams played. 23 points, just 4 points her last time out against A&M.
Yeah, she was 10 of 14 from the field against Florida, so she knows her sweet spots against this Florida defense, and expect her to want to come back off of just a 4-point performance last time out.
Yolette McPhee-McEwen, former head coach in the state of Florida at Jacksonville University. She has been great. They call her Coach Yo. Back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances. Last year, the program's 11th Sweet 16. Kelly Ray Finley, 53-35 all-time. This is her 3rd year as head coach. Gators coming off their most impressive performance all year. They dropped 90 on the road in Starkville in a 20-point win. Gators in the all-pink uniforms today. This is the annual pink game. Ole Miss in the navy blues. Ole Miss has won the last 4 in this all-time series. Getting set to get underway. Big one as both teams try to angle themselves towards the postseason. That SEC tournament, Florida's won the last 2. Ole Miss, they've lost the last 2. They're coming off a bye week, so now they get back to action. A big one here tonight. Kennedy Todd Williams. That's not a place where Ole Miss lives beyond the arc. They only about make 2.5 threes per game.
And that's a place where Florida's going to want to force them. They want them to shoot from outside because their percentages are not as good from the three-point line as they are inside the arc.
Here's Broughton. Pick and roll. Duke wide open to the cup.
Great movement by Florida on the offensive end, patiently making Ole Miss defense shift and rotate. That's what you have to do.
Ole Miss starting 5, some changes. Carissa Richardson making her first start since late November. Kennedy Todd Williams back in the starting lineup. She was ejected from the last game against Texas A&M. Madison Scott's going to run the point for this group. A position change for her. Ole Miss empty in their first 2 trips. This is what the Gators want to do, run the floor. Reynolds slips into a double and a charge. Snudda Collins takes the contact.
Collins there taking the contact, not getting out of the way of a charging in Layla Reynolds. She tried to kind of make a little Euro step around, but Collins was there as a wall. It's a good call by the referees.
Gators will go with this similar configuration. See Zippy Broughton in the starting lineup for a 7th straight time. The 2 top scorers in the SEC, Aaliyah Matharu and Leilani Correa, they're both going to come off the bench. It's a unique setup that Kelly Ray Finley has.
When you can pull the top scorers in the SEC off the bench, yeah, that gives the defenses a really different look from the start of the game to a couple minutes in.
Gators get the steal. They average about 10 per game. They've been able to get many takeaways in SEC play. Here's Duke from the corner. Yep. Extending her range. Knocks down a tray. Faith Duke. That added element to her game.
And Faith Duke, she knows how important this game is for Florida. She's a veteran on the floor. She stretches the defense out of that 5 position, able to knock down the 3-point shot. She doesn't shoot it often, but she has a little bit more lately.
Todd Williams well off the mark. And the Gators again quickly want to run. Here's Zippy Broughton coming off a 16-point performance. That was a season high. She had family in attendance in Starkville. Turns the corner, squeezes one up and in, and Florida scored the first 7.
Florida doing exactly what they need to do in this game on their home court. They've got to come out big, come out strong, put it on this Ole Miss team early.
Gators have been getting off to great starts in these last handful of games. Started in Arkansas, this 2-game win streak. And then the win on the road in Starkville. Marquisha Davis. Ibakwe got hit in the face. No whistle. Collins from the corner. Ibakwe is still shaken up. Reynolds on a leak out all alone for 2. And a 9-0 start for the orange and blue. Ibakwe still shaken up. And it forces Coach Yo to use an early timeout. Gators defense into offense. And Florida, in a crucial game for their postseason prospects, have scored the first 9. Well, Brittany Davis, how about the start for the Florida Gators once again, off and running pretty quickly?
4 of 4 from the field as a team, 100%. Shots are falling from outside, inside, drives to the basket. Now for Florida, if Zippy can continue the way that she has been, she's on a tear as of lately, 16 points last time out. It's good to see her score early in this set.
The play under review is deemed incidental.
So there was something under review. You take a look at Faye Doot, 5 points and early 2 of 2 from the floor, and she's been a huge part of things. Of course, Rashae Kyle out with that injury. She's been forced to move back to the center spot in the 5 position.
But 5 of 5, you've got a nice little kind of roll to the basket to start it off. She got the easy 2-point bucket, and then stretching the floor out, hits a corner, not a corner 3, a wing 3 for Florida. And then now, Ole Miss, you kind of have to guard her out to the 3-point line, not just allow her to slip to the basket like she did on her first 2 points.
So that review that they were under, Ibakwe was hit in the face prior to the timeout. They were looking to see if there was anything extra there. That was just incidental contact. We were given a lineup that had Carissa Richardson as a starter. She did not even start. It was Ibakwe back as the starting center.
And Ibakwe, I think Faith Duke kind of knocked her, because even Faith Duke kind of looked to kind of almost pause, and Florida had the ball off of a rebound just to make sure she was okay.
All right, reset things here for Ole Miss. They're coming off what they would tell you is their worst game of the year against Texas A&M, as we have a steal here momentarily from Stevenson. But it's a game that they almost needed, according to Coach Yo.
Yeah, she talked about how it's one of those times in the season you're kind of riding high, things are going really, really well, and then you kind of get smacked. And Ole Miss had a week to recover. They practiced hard. They worked on their defense. They said that they needed that in order to get back on focus.
No basketballs were allowed at the first few practices this week. It was nothing but defense. Back-to-back turnovers. Matharu travels. It was an intense week of practice. They scored 85 points against Tennessee, and Coach Yo said, we started feeling ourselves a little bit, but she reminded this team that's not exactly who we are. We're not a team that's going to consistently score in the 80-point area. We got to be good defensively.
Yeah, and that's what she builds her programs off, our defense. Defense, defense, defense. So that's what they got back out. So I bet that first timeout was not particularly a happy one, with Florida going up 7-0.
After missing their first 5, Davis has the first bucket. Matharu has the answer. Leah Matharu on for the first time, along with Leilani Correa, so you get 2 of the top 5 scorers in the SEC off the bench. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess.
I mean, absolutely not. You don't want to change it up like that if they're playing so well off the bench and so well off the bench together.
Warren's been so good defensively, gets the strip. Taya Singleton can't finish. Kindred rips it away. Matharu, baseball heave, Rimdahl. Vision ahead, Correa. They're going to really try to limit her tonight. They referenced the job LSU had done on her, just 11 attempts as Kindred travels.
The good decision in transition, and that's something that Coach Yo talked about. We got to get back in transition defense, and that was a good segment of how they got back defensively on Florida, a team that likes to push the ball in transition. They pushed it up. They didn't allow Birdie Rimdahl to get a layup or a kick-out pass for a 3, which really hurt Ole Miss, was Leilani Correa's ability to, in transition, hit 3s.
What stands out in those numbers you just saw, 55% from 3. That's a large sample size of games.
And that's why they ran out so hard on her when she caught that ball on the 3-point line in transition, is she's shooting the ball so well and so efficiently from the 3-point line.
Davis had the first bucket, can't connect there. Rebound, Correa. Here's Leilani, had a little bit of space. Now attacks the rack, elevates, can't float it in. Leading scorer in SEC games at 24 per, and that 3-point percentage at 55% also leads the league in conference games. Just been a different player since coming off the bench. Singleton, well off the mark, and they'll take those types of looks if you're Florida.
Absolutely. I was going to say, I think Florida's saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and give you some of these open 3-point shots and hope you take them.
Matharu navigates inside, trying to use that strength on Kennedy. Todd Williams stays with the Gators, and we'll have wholesale subs here for Florida. Duke, Reynolds, and Broughton in. Taya Singleton takes a seat. Rita Abakwe will come back in after being hit in the face in the first few minutes.
Good to see her back out on the court. There's nothing serious.
A big-time shot blocker for Ole Miss.
They want her on the court defensively.
Just a flip pass from Leilani Correa. You see him in the Harlem Globetrotters or something. It was a no-look over-the-shoulder pass. Here's Kelly Rae Finley getting this team playing, I would say, Brittany, some of their best basketball, at least offensively, of the year.
And really, this is the time where you kind of want to be playing your best basketball. You want to push it out towards the end of the season, into the SEC tournament. You're closing out the season, just 6 games left for seeding in the SEC tournament, and then possible postseason play.
Broughton, dangerous heave. Shot clock waning down to 3. Correa's got a hoist, gives it up for Duke. Her shot blocked by the aforementioned Ibakwe.
A defense by Ole Miss causing Florida to not get a good look at the basket.
Here's Marquisha Davis, leading scorer. Matharu gets the assignment. Scott gives way for Davis, turns the corner, and a moving screen. That'll go on Madison Scott.
And Madison's got a player for Ole Miss who's had to, move positions for them, going to that point guard position. And so if Florida can get her in a little bit of foul trouble, then Ole Miss has to look somewhere else again for the point guard position, which is what they're doing now, kind of moving pieces around because she's out of the game.
Yeah, Madison Scott, interesting case, starting point guard because of the injury to former Florida Gators in the house tonight. Right. KK Deans tore ACL earlier in the year. And that's forced Madison Scott to play a different role, a position she played in high school. Meanwhile, turnovers just back and forth. It's a game of hot potato right now in the first quarter.
Nobody wants the basketball in this offense.
Broughton slashes in all the way to the rim.
Great hesitation move by Zippy Broughton. Right at the three-point line, pauses just enough to go right by Ole Miss defense, who doesn't even go with her. Lets her just go onto the basket for a layup.
Both teams were nearing a scoring drought of 3 minutes. Ole Miss still has not scored in 3 minutes. Florida scored, if you're just joining us, the first 9 points of the game. Davis, it's a good shot.
It's a great shot. Elbow shot off of a screen. Open.
Gators getting shades of Zippy Broughton from 2 seasons ago that has elevated their play. And they'll get a travel here on Layla Reynolds.
And travel better than a charge for Florida because she already has that one foul doing the exact same thing, running right into somebody on the offensive end.
And Brittany, already a couple of buckets for Zippy Broughton. I want to touch on her because it has been a real turnaround over the last couple of games for her, and that is another option for Florida that wasn't essentially consistent on the offensive end.
Yeah, not at all. You can see the season stats, only 3.6 points, but as of late, she has been doing a really good job for Florida. 16 points last game out, and that's the Zippy that they need on the floor to close out this SEC season.
Richardson squeezes in, another turnover. Travel on Richardson, former Auburn Tiger. Well, if you like turnovers, I don't know who's out there that does, but we've seen already 10 total, 5 apiece. We're not even 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, both teams probably need to value the basketball a little bit more than they are right now.
Ole Miss has made 1 shot, a Davis jumper. They're 1 of 10 to begin the game.
And if you're Florida, you're holding a team to 1 of 10. You really want to extend the lead out even more.
Here's Rimdahl. Correa fades and fires, can't hit. Tharu off the floor, so Correa the main scoring option right now for Florida. Who does Ole Miss look to? Kindred probing hands.
You want a 5-second call, and they get it.
Ayanna Thompson had no options.
Erin Kindred did a great job of on-ball defense, kind of over there in that pocket corner, so she couldn't see, and then everybody else for Florida denying. She can't see where to get the ball because there's such heavy pressure in her face, but everybody else for Florida doesn't allow their player to get open, so you get a 5-second call.
And over the last couple games, Florida's been so good defensively in holding their opponents. As Matharu got fouled trying to attack the rack.
And they didn't call. Madison Scott, she was upset because they thought they called it on her. She got a clean block, but they did not call it. They called that foul on Collins. So drive into the basket, Collins riding the hip, gets the body foul, and then Madison Scott coming over. Yeah, the reaction is, no, she wants to block. She didn't get the foul call. That was a good block, but the body foul comes beforehand.
It was Collins who picks up her first, and Matharu at the line knocks down the first. How about Aaliyah Matharu? Missed a couple games with illness. She's back in the rotation, and you have two elite scorers now playing on the floor at the same time, Aaliyah Matharu and Leilani Correa. How does that mix, Brittany?
Yeah, and that's one of those for other teams. They've got to really worry about it, because if you guard one or try to double team one of them, the other one's going to have more of a look at the basket. So for Florida, it kind of stretches the floor out because you have two opportunities of scorers, of high volume scorers.
Must-have bucket for Kennedy Todd Williams. Then a quarter all for the orange and blue. Wraparound reverse somehow finds its way down for Aaliyah Matharu.
The way that she can create just off the dribble. What a nice little crossover. Drive to the baseline, then reverses it over. She is so good at creating offense in one-on-one situations. Just hesitation in. Madison Scott, she's riding the hip, and then just flips it around. What a phenomenal shot. Just the athleticism.
Kindred in isolation. That's swept away by Singleton. Ole Miss in a situation where they've lost their last two games. This is a key game to bridge them into what's going to be a rivalry game on Sunday against Mississippi State on their home floor, a team they've already lost to.
And that's an emotional game. Mississippi State for Ole Miss. Mississippi State, very emotional game, just about an hour and a half away. And so that's a big game for them. You can see 5th in the SEC right now, projected 8th seed in the NCAA tournament. So they have a lot riding on this game and the rest of the SEC season, but particularly this game.
Get a foul there on Ernie Kindred, with Scott attacking the rack. Two shots coming up here in what has been a nightmare quarter for Ole Miss. And it's been a season where they're 6-4. Coach O said, we're okay.
Yeah,
we're okay. We lost our starting point guard in KK Deans in November, and we've had to get a little innovative with some of our lineups. But, you know, there's some panic with some losses, especially after A&M, where they did not play well. But she's saying, look, we're 6-4. We're in the mix. We're okay.
You're definitely in the mix. Right now, you're 5th in the SEC. So by no stretch of the imagination is the season over or anything. You got to stay positive. You got to stay, hey, we're on the road. They have, you know, Florida here, and then Mississippi State at home, Georgia at home, Missouri and Kentucky, and then Arkansas. So they've got a schedule at the end that they also see that they can be competitive in.
There's KK Deans, former Florida point guard. Last season was their top scorer, heading to Ole Miss in the transfer portal. But they have a very veteran-laden team. 7 Rebels with 100-plus games played. Lead down to 11.
You can see Ole Miss, they're jumping into a press, trying to slow Ole Miss down, cause a turnover, and then hopping back in as a 1-2-2, I believe. And then now staying in the zone, stretching it out kind of high.
Ole Miss wanted to travel. You can see Coach O on the bottom of your screen. Rimdahl had it ripped away. Davis got fouled. That's just the 3rd team foul, so no free throws.
And a good decision for Ole Miss to jump into a press and then drop back into a zone. They've been playing man, and it caught Florida a little bit off guard. You can see in the half-court offense, they didn't really know where to go or what to do.
First time they played, it was a 28-point first quarter for Ole Miss. They were up 20 at the half. As they're looking at something right now at the table, it's going to be a clock issue. The clock did not stop after the foul.
Oh, yeah, it's still at 40.1.
41.5.
Yeah.
So they put little time on. Paulini, Spurlock, Welsh, Margaret Tiemann, Billy Smith are officials. Gators in his zone. Scott got fouled and one.
And if you're Florida and you go to a zone, that's what you don't want. You don't want to allow the ball into the heart of the defense, right down there below the SEC logo. Great positioning by Ole Miss. It's a high flash. and then just a dump down post to, not post to post, but when you're in a zone, Madison Scott can kind of run that post position where she's very good as well. That's your point guard going and posting up somebody else's big, because that's the size that they have. That's a great offensive play for Ole Miss.
First ever McDonald's All-American in Ole Miss history, Madison Scott. Scott has 5 in the quarter.
That's her second. I thought they called it a kick ball, but they called that on Madison Scott, so she gets her second foul, which is big.
Yeah, that's huge. Second foul for Madison Scott. She's going to have to come out. Ayanna Thompson comes in for the final seconds here of the first. Now, how does that change things to the start of the second quarter?
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, she knew it coming out.
Just bad timing on the leap.
She knew right away that's her second, and then she's been coming out for a little bit.
Shot clocks are dark, so Florida can hold for the final shot here. Scored the first 9 points of the game. Rimdahl. Warren finds a friend in Duke with 5. Rimdahl floats one off the glass and in as the game clock hits 0 here in the first. An exclamation point in the opening 10 minutes, and the Gators lead by 10 heading into the second frame.
What a great decision here. You see just a drive to the basket. They're in like a matchup zone right now, so Brody Rimdahl takes advantage and puts it up for 2.
The Gators' great start to this one. Have to have it if they have aspirations of an NCAA tournament berth. Gators up 10 through 1. Ole Miss has won the last 4 in this all-time series. Gators trying to grab their 3rd straight SEC win. Coach Yo is fired up in that huddle right now, trying to get this team going. She spent this week of practice really trying to get things straightened out for this Ole Miss team. Take a look at that first quarter, one in which Florida scored the first 9 points, and things just were not falling for Ole Miss.
I know, 25% from the floor, 0 of 4 from 3. That's what Florida wants to do. They want to force Ole Miss to shoot the 3. They're not particularly strong from the 3-point line. And you see the points off turnover. Florida has 7 off forcing 7 turnovers. So, you know, that's important for Florida, but also one that wasn't on there was points in the paint. Florida has 14 points in the paint already, holding Ole Miss to just 4.
Matharu triggers up a 3, right on target. Aaliyah Matharu, red hot start, nearing double figures here early in the second quarter. Turnovers were an issue for both teams in the first. And another giveaway. Correa with the active hands. Matharu for a trailing Correa got it stripped. And throws it away to Todd Williams. And Matharu knocks it out of bounds.
That was a great pass by Zippy Broughton. That's what she also brings to the floor is you have basically 2 point guards out on the floor now with Aaliyah Matharu and Zippy Broughton. So you can run in transition and push. I mean, she thread the needle straight to Aaliyah Matharu, and then the extra pass, and then you just got to credit Ole Miss. Good hands. Todd Williams, Todd Williams able to get a hand on that ball.
It's been a struggle in the last 2 offensively for Ole Miss. Now, one of those games, for context, was on the road against South Carolina.
It's hard for everybody.
They've averaged 55 points per in the last 2. Davis can't hit. Singleton got tied up momentarily, comes out of the fray. Davis reclaims Singleton. Saloon doors a double, can't finish. And there's still a lid on that rim. A tie up, the alternate arrow stays with the Rebels.
See Ole Miss hustling it. You're on the road in the SEC. You got to hustle and scrap for everything. Offensive rebounds, loose balls. Ole Miss trying to do that here to get themselves back into this game.
Their mantra on their shirts that they walked in for shoot-around on the back: rebound, run, and share the ball. It's a big mantra for this team.
Yeah, they want to rebound the ball well because that's what they do. They rebound the ball and then they run. And right now, after that timeout, after the quarter, they were losing the rebounding battle 10-5 to Florida.
Shot denied underneath. Correa somehow finds Matharu. Open 3. You bet! Another for number 2. And Florida really piling on now early in the second. Didn't see this coming early.
Yeah, and the defense in the 2-3 zone by Aaliyah Matharu gets the steal and the push.
And another strip from Todd Williams out of bounds. So what does Ole Miss need to do here to settle things down?
They've got to calm down a little bit, but you can see here just the push up the floor by Leilani. Open shot, Ole Miss is going to take that every time. And she knocks it down. She's hot right now, has 11 points. Oh no, 12 points, excuse me. And then Florida, after that shot, goes back, drops into a 2-3 zone, and still able to get a steal at the top of that 2-3 zone.
Extra feed, Matharu, why not?
That's a shot you got to take when you hit 2.
And coming in, she's
it's
only
wide
been
open.
25% from 3. That's after she shot 42% at Texas in her final year there.
So I think what Ole Miss is doing is, hey, we're going to play percentages a little bit. You know, she's deadly on drives to the basket, make her hit a couple. It'll be interesting to see if they go out on her a little bit more, because she has the ability, like you said, at Texas, she's 42% from the three-point line. So when she gets hot from the arc, she starts knocking them down.
Marquisha Davis gets on the brakes. Todd Williams
Nice.
cruises in for 2. And also of note, to add context to that first meeting, Aaliyah Matharu did not play. She was not on the trip. She was sick. Little step back long 2. Last touch, Madison Scott. Correa comes out. Jariah Warren will come in as the frustration continues to settle in here for Ole Miss, Brittany.
I mean, this is the game right now. In this game, you're a little frustrated. Shots aren't falling. You're on the road. Florida's scoring really easily right now.
This will be Ole Miss ball.
And Florida turning the ball over underneath out of bounds. That's definitely not what you want to do.
Madison Scott back on the floor. Remember, she picked up an early 2 in the first quarter in terms of fouls.
Now, we'll see. If I'm Florida, I'm going to kind of go at Madison Scott a little bit, just because, I mean, she can't foul. She has 2 fouls right now, so I would attack her offensively.
There's another giveaway. Brittany, that's the 11th turnover for Ole Miss. They still got over 7 minutes to go in the half. 6 steals. Matharu turns the corner, high off the window. Faye Duke grabs the rebound. They'll call a tie-up. The alternate arrow stays here with the Gators. We mentioned Ole Miss has won the last 4. That's been by an average of 16 points per game. So there's some pent-up frustration. You get the sense for those players in the pink uniforms tonight.
Florida's struggling with it underneath out of bounds, getting the ball in. Just have to settle with tossing it up top. They now only have 5 seconds on the shot clock.
Matharu in and out with 3 at the logo. Air ball. Snutta Collins, 3-point artist. Right now, only 3 in the score sheet for Ole Miss. Scott still leads the way with 5. Todd Williams leaps and leads, can't score. Got her Ole Miss, they'll get a foul here on Matharu.
No one boxes out the shooter. She gets her own rebound. It bounces right back to her, and then that's an easy foul call.
Ole Miss had a really good shoot around this morning. You know, after that Texas A&M game, it felt like they were back on track. Still a lot of basketball to be played, but the roles in reverse from the first time these two teams played. Remember, the Gators were down 20 at the half, and they scored 42 in the second half to make it a game. Kennedy Todd Williams at the line, 75% this year, and she had her noticeable struggles in that first meeting at the line where she was out shooting by herself after the final horn.
She was frustrated with the fact that she was not hitting from the free throw line, and she spent a couple minutes just out there just shooting.
Snutta Collins. We'll get a foul underneath. This will go on Ibakwe.
Ernie Kindred getting down low, getting in position, getting it pushed off. Shot goes up. You see, this is important to boxing out. Yeah, it just gets pushed off the mark, right under the baseline ref.
This is a lineup without Faith Duke, so a much smaller lineup here for Kelly Ray Finley. Marquisha Davis comes in. Kennedy Todd Williams will take a seat. Gators this year 11-3 when they lead going into the break. Looking for a 3rd consecutive win for the first time in 2 seasons. That in the SEC. Broughton throws it away.
Yeah, probably should have taken that all the way in. Sydney Broughton just her ability to off the ball. You see from the three-point line how quick she gets from the three-point line to the rim. Help had to come over, just the pass was completely off.
I was talking to Zippy the other day. She was telling me about some of the tea sessions that she has, like literal drinking tea, not like the slang of like tea sessions of talking gossip, like actual tea sessions at her house. Scott rumbles inside for two, flexing the muscles, and Zippy wants her to get teed up.
Yeah, she does. She doesn't like the fact that she's screaming at her teammate, and that's something Zippy Broughton will definitely do, is step up and defend her teammates. You see just a drive to the basket, foul, but yeah, she wasn't a fan of that.
That usually draws something.
Yeah, usually. I mean, when you stare down and look.
But you know what, I
mean,
like
but,
it.
You know,
it's all part of it,
it's
right?
all part of the game, and Freddie Rimdahl is not phased with it one bit. She didn't even notice.
You think of it from her perspective, you're trying to drum up some energy for your team right now. Essentially, you've come out flat here in the first half.
And she's frustrated. She has 2 fouls. They haven't been able to score. Just shooting, under 30% for the game, and in the first quarter, did not shoot the ball particularly well at all.
Madison Scott has played really well in her career against the Gators. 3 performances of 15 or more, has averaged 14 per in her games against the Gators in her career.
She's got 8 points right now.
Rimdahl in the corner. They started to get her heated up a little bit on Sunday in Starkville.
And Florida's going to need to knock down those shots because Ole Miss is trying to pack that paint in on the penetration drives to the basket. They're drawing 2. They're coming off of the ball side shooter, which you don't see often. So Florida's got to knock that shot down.
Ernie Kindred earns the foul, sends Nutta Collins to the line. Gators have not scored in the last 3 minutes.
Now Florida's got to find a way to score here. Seeing the lead that they have dwindling down more and more.
Some of the positive of that A&M game, Nutta Collins had 4 threes made.
Yes.
Currently a career season scoring-wise. She's 4th all-time in threes made in Ole Miss history. She's also 4th in attempts. %82% this year. Has both. Ole Miss has scored the last 7.
Oh, it went a little double dribble handle. You see how quick Aaliyah Matharo just gets down the court and draws 3 Ole Miss players to her because she gets all the way to the block and then pulls it back out.
Backdoor in traffic. Gray didn't have a prayer. Duke holds on to it. Matharu, another.
And that's a shot Florida needed really badly. Hadn't scored, knocked down a 3. Aaliyah Matharu coming to play.
15 first half points. Davis grabs the offensive rebound. Barely nicks rim, loose ball for Warren. Ole Miss, a team that gets a lot of second chance opportunities. One of the better offensive rebounding teams in the league and in the country. No second chance points tonight though for the Rebels. Matharu, congested corner. Search the baseline. She got knocked down hard. Rebels tap go. Here's Davis. Shoulders in, contorts and scores.
Taking advantage of the fact that Florida only had 4 back with Aaliyah Matharu still down in the backcourt. Slow to get up, but gets back into play, but too late.
Matharu, Duke rolling to the rim and 1. Dance on the rim for a little while, falls through for number 25. Gators extending this lead out to 12.
You can see just a nice little give to their post player. Faith finishes strong, said, hey, give me 2.
Aaliyah Matharu off to a great start, 4th in the league in scoring, already 15 in the half.
And really doing it all. Drives to the basket, this nice little kind of reverse layup with some defense on her. But from the three-point line right now, she's 3 of 5 and hit some really big three-point shots when Florida has really needed. And then the assist to your big girl and the excitement after. Excited for Faith Duke to get that bucket. That's the type of team leader that you want on the floor. 15 points already for her here tonight.
And just overall, the Gators from 3 have shot it so much better over the last handful of games, and over these last 2, they've hit 11. They're already 4 of 8 from deep.
And this is, we brushed on it just a little bit, but you're closing out the SEC season. You got 6 games left. You want to start heating up a little bit and getting a little bit stronger in the post position in the 3-point line, and that excitement brewing, and get these wins down the stretch. And we looked over, and there's a Rimdal. I think there's a
fan
team.
section.
Yeah, I think there's a team here visiting from Denmark.
There was
That they come over to like local high schools and host them, and I think that just made like one of the teams.
They were holding up each letter in Alberti Rimdal's name, number 5 in pink.
They're excited.
Got a big cheering section. It's not a Collins long 2. Rimdal falling down to the ground right on cue. Broughton will run the show here. Matharu on the bench to start this segment. Ole Miss, a team that prides themselves on defense. Gators 50% shooting. Broughton turns the edge, slithers in, wrap around Reynolds. Dives in the lane, and a travel.
That was a really good offensive segment for Zippy Broughton, though. Getting into the heart of the defense and getting a kick out to an open teammate.
I love the Coach Yo stare, because she had to travel about 2 passes prior to that.
Yeah, she did.
And the look that she gave the official. It's a funny look. It's a sarcastic look. I love it. She needs her own camera on the bottom of the screen. Let's turn the program
Always
around.
on.
Back-to-back NCAA tournaments. Sweet 16 last year. Duke gets a hand in the passing lane. Reynolds falls down to the ground.
Good hand. She comes up lapping, trips over, I think, Faith Duke's foot. Falls right on the floor, but both players trying to go get it. I think each team really knows this is an important game, and it's like you talked about, a pivotal point in the season, and each team really needs it.
You don't take any opponents for granted, but you look at what Florida has if they win tonight, what they have remaining in their schedule. It's 3 teams with currently 2 wins in the league. As Davis gets fouled by Zippy Broughton, will get 2 shots.
And this is where Ole Miss is really good, getting to the foul line.
Take a look at what the Gators have ahead. Kentucky, Missouri, Georgia, they've all had tough seasons. Auburn's had a pretty solid year in conference play, building under Johnny Harris. Alabama's the only team over 500 on that list after tonight.
And I mean, really, if you look at it, a lot of those are in the bottom half, bottom 4, bottom 6, 7 of the SEC. So you kind of look and say, hey, we've got to win these games if you're Florida. And you look at this guy and say, we've got to go on the road to get some wins. Alabama, they're having a really good season too, middle of the pack, playing well. But like you said, you can't take any team for granted. You can't do that. But Florida really needs to get that spark continued to flame as they have in the last couple games and continue here tonight. And Ole Miss, they need it back.
I was talking to Mike Neighbors last week. He said 8 wins is kind of the line that you need to get into the NCAA tournament. Broughton around a screen, stop and start, fades and fires. Nice strong rebound from Marquisha Davis.
Ole Miss looking to push the ball up the floor.
Collins runs the floor. Jump stop leader. Coach Hill looks at the SEC season in 4-game pods. They've gone 2-2 in one, 4-0 in another, and they're 0-2 in this current 4-game pod. Right now it's 6-4 in the league. Florida 4-6. Again, shot clock draining down, and another travel.
Yeah, Layla Reynolds really struggling with putting the ball down first. She wants to move so quickly, but getting called with it. And he didn't know, coach on the sideline. I mean, she's over there almost not playing defense on the court, but she has hands up the minute Leilani Correa catches the ball. Her hands go up, saying, hey, reminding her teammates, you got to get a hand up on her, wanting to get those travel calls, really kind of shaking Florida up a little bit on the sideline.
Scott, kick out Davis, corner 3. Halfway down the well. Singleton has the rebound for Scott, long 2.
And Florida right now giving up some offensive rebounds that are allowing Ole Miss to get second and third chance opportunities. Ole Miss, taking advantage of the fact that they're getting those offensive rebounds. And they're a team that wants to rebound the ball well.
And the reason the Gators have not been able to extend this lead, that's already their 13th turnover of the half. Davis, an excursion inside. And Collins stepped out. Boy, just no rhythm.
None at all right now in this game, the flow right now. But I just want to touch upon the rebounding. So Ole Miss now has 14 rebounds to Florida's 16. They were down in the rebounding battle big in the first quarter. They've really stepped that up. And in games where they out-rebound their opponents, They're 16-0 when they out-rebound their opponents. So that's something that Florida wants to be careful with, not allowing them to get on the glass like they like to.
0-6 when they're out-rebounded this year.
So that's a big stat for Florida to watch and look as they turn the ball over again.
This is what Ole Miss does. They disrupt defensively. They force about 17 turnovers a game. Coach O was wearing a shirt this morning at shoot-around that just said defense across the chest. Richardson gave it right back.
Great job by Jariah Warren, jumps right in the passing lane.
Matharu, long lead for Rimdahl, flips one up short. Chaotic sequence. Todd Williams in from the right, lays it in, and it's down to 7.
Florida right now really need to getting out of this quarter. They need to get a bucket, and they're going to get an offensive foul instead in a moving screen.
And when you move so quick in transition, it's hard to get set for a screen.
Faith Duke trying to set a screen for Aaliyah Matharu, but Aaliyah Matharu is so quick, you almost don't want to even get in the way. She's so quick getting it, and just getting in the way, they call the moving screen. But Aaliyah Matharu, she almost doesn't even need that screen because she is so quick. It's kind of a brush screen trying to get away with it, doesn't get away with it.
Carissa Richardson, money, and it's down to 5.
Ole Miss has turned it on here in the second quarter, 17 points.
Outscored the Gators 17-12 in the frame. Gators' largest lead was 16. Final minute, second quarter. Gators trying to settle in, and a foul is called on Kennedy Todd Williams amidst this 8-0 Rebel run. That's just her first. Doing all this with Madison Scott currently on the bench.
Ole Miss finds a way here in the second quarter to get their shots to fall.
Rimdahl, quick hoist, and hit! That one was from Ocala.
And the fans excited about that, holding up Rimdahl, her name, homemade signs. Gotta love it.
Rimdahl coming off a game where she hit 3 trays in Starkville. Shot clocks have gone dark. Ole Miss can hold for the final look. Collins works on the dribble with 3. Todd Williams with 2, gets it off, high archer, left short. And that'll bring us to a close. Florida led by as many as 16, but Ole Miss chipping away in that second quarter.
Ole Miss did what they needed to do in that second quarter. They fought back. They didn't allow Florida to go out on a 20-plus point lead. Florida Rimdahl really had the answer for Florida to close out that second quarter. Florida needed that 3-point shot.
Gators looking for a 3rd consecutive SEC win. Ole Miss trying to snap a 2-game slide. Matharu with 15 first-half points has her Gators out in front by 8. Halftime show is next.
Welcome into the SEC Halftime Report. Steffi Sorensen, Alyssa Lang here with you. A couple of days ago, we had one of the games of the year. South Carolina, UConn coming to Columbia. I mean, before we get into the highlight of what happened on Sunday, speak to this rivalry and what it's been for the last, 5 to 10 years now?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about going back to the beginning of Dawn Staley trying to get and create a powerhouse in Columbia, she'd go up there to Connecticut and they would just get, spanked basically by Connecticut.
Early on.
And it would just be a bloodbath. And now it's like, okay, now the number 1 recruits are going to Columbia. Now South Carolina's assembling some pretty talented rosters.
Yeah.
And then I felt like the playing field really started to get level. And now South Carolina really showcasing just how dominant they've been lately.
We wondered how close Sunday's game would be. South Carolina took control and left very little doubt once this one started. They packed out Colonial Life Arena, as they typically do.
A lot of questions coming in this game. No Camila Cardoso. She's with their Brazilian national team preparing for the Olympics. How would South Carolina look against a top 15 team?
As you said, though, as of late, Dawn has won the past 3 against Gino Auriemma. First quarter, Tahina Paupau nailing the 3-pointer. Later in the first, UConn in transition. They missed the 3, but Aaliyah Edwards gets the tough offensive rebound, finds Paige Beckers for the jumper.
Yeah, that's the 1-2 punch for Connecticut that has been so successful all season. 2 of the best players in the country, but Ashlyn Watkins has stepped up big time since being inserted into the starting lineup. Lang, first when Chloe Kitts was sick,
No.
Now with Cardoso out, and check out this block. My, oh my, was that sweet.
After she turns it over, corrects it on the other side, right? Ashlyn Swatkins came to play in that one.
Look at the timing, the fact that she doesn't foul, and they get the ball. I mean, it's a grand slam for me.
It's an unbelievable performance every time she comes up with one of those. Into the second quarter now, UConn trying to stay in it. Down 24-13, Beckers for 3. She finished with 20.
Yeah, I mean, 20 points for Beckers, 8 for 20 from the floor. It was not easy getting off shots. They switched defenders on her, but it was Connecticut trying to guard South Carolina that I felt like impacted this game.
Hits with the mid-range J. Later on, Tahina Paopao working the screen. She will
Can't go under the screen.
do what she does best. Hit for 3. She was 4 of 5 from 3 in the first half as the Gamecocks take a 15-point lead. Now, Mylasia Fulwiley had some big rebounds in the second quarter. Off a missed UConn three-pointer, she gets the board, dishes it to Sanaya Fagan for the layup.
Yeah, for Wiley off the bench in transition. That's when everyone starts to hold their breath, is like, what's she gonna do next?
Later, misses a three-pointer, gets her own rebound, hits the floater. South Carolina led 44-30 at the half.
Think about it. You're Gino Irma, you're preparing for this game, so you're thinking about, okay, how do we guard Paopao? We got Bree Hall, Raven Johnson, we got a slower. Oh, there's Fulwiley off the bench.
Oh,
Wait, Chloe
there's Kitts
in
inside.
transition. Oh,
There's stars everywhere for this South Carolina team. Later in the third quarter, Fulwiley coming up with the steal, and she will finish on the other end. Too much star power. South Carolina gets the win, cruises to an 83-65 final. To go back to how we started this conversation, this rivalry that's been so back and forth for years. Now Dawn has 4 straight against Gino Auriemma, and this one was resounding, as we've seen as of late. Where is this program right now?
well, you know, listening to Dawn Staley talk about this matchup before the game was played, she was mentioning that Connecticut has been the program basically of the century.
Yeah.
What they've been able to do, 11 national championships, the names, the legacies of everybody. And it's got to be sweet for her on the flip side of that, of challenging her team when maybe they weren't ready to go up there and play them and not go her way, to now flip the script, and now South Carolina being the program of excellence that everyone is striving to be. I mean, that is incredible to be a part of and for us to witness, because, I mean, they are, I mean, think about all the players we're talking about. I mean, they all want to play for Dawn Staley. They all want to be in Columbia, and they all enjoy and embrace the process that Dawn Staley puts them through.
When you look at the way they were able to execute this one on the floor, we talk about Tahina Paopao, what she's done all season long. She had a game-high 21 points. We talk about what she can do from 3. Where is this team's greatest strength right now?
That's a great question. Greatest strength, I think right now it's got to be their depth. And pick a position, I guess. You know, I think any coach that I listen to after playing South Carolina, they go, man, that fourth quarter when there's just an extra, they've got an extra player. They can just, they can give players, their starters, minutes to rest, and then they can just put the foot on the gas in the fourth quarter and put the game away. I remember just moments where, man, they don't have to play the whole game, so you can bring in Fulwiley and then bring in Paopao, and she's got that experience to close out a game. While you let Fulwiley get those minutes, but you bring in your veteran to close the game out. So I think, you know, their bench has been absolutely insane this year.
We've seen games where South Carolina's bench has put up 40-plus points today, or Sunday against UConn, 19, but UConn's bench had 3. Just for comparison of the depth for South Carolina.
Connecticut is shorthanded. Connecticut would have been a little bit different of a game if you had other players for Connecticut who are out due to injury, but South Carolina, that's a win for them against Connecticut. Keeps the streak going.
The dominance continues for Dawn Staley and the ladies in Columbia. This has been the SEC Halftime Report. Second half coming up after this.
Gators 11-3 this year when leading at the half, just the 6th time this season that Ole Miss has trailed at the break. With that, we welcome you courtside, Kyle Crooks, Brittany Davis. Howdy, everybody. These are the hats for the giveaway. Of course, this is the annual Pink Game, honoring those in the fight as we continue to find a cure for cancer and Brittany, let's talk about what happened in that first half, because Florida came out gangbusters in that first quarter, scored the first 9 points, have an 8-point lead at the half. What did you see?
And they did it on the defensive end. They got those defensive stops that they needed, pushed the ball in transition, and that's how they got their quick offense sets going. And they did it as a team. It wasn't just one person who came out here and said, hey, I'm going to lock down somebody. Team defense, collapsing on drives to the basket, not allowing those points in the paint, and that's how they got the lead that they did in the first quarter.
Meanwhile, Ole Miss was able to force 15 Florida turnovers. How about Aaliyah Matharu? This is the 6th time in SEC play she's had at least 15, at 15 at the half.
15 points in just under 12 minutes of play. So 5 of 10 from the field. And the big one is 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Florida's hit 5 threes, and she's hit 3 of them, and they've been timely. They've needed them when they went down. And this is something she's going to have to continue, I think, here in the second half for Florida to get this win.
All right, for Ole Miss, as you take a look at the numbers, 16 points off those 15 turnovers. They were able to chip away, like we said, going in half. In that second quarter, what did they need to do to even out this game?
And they need to have the third quarters that they usually have. They've been best in their third quarters when they've had those wins. They get 28% of their overall points in the third quarter. They did not have a good third quarter at Texas A&M, so they want to change that here today. But also, Davis scores most of her points in the third quarter, so I think Florida's got to hone in on her. She averages 13.5, and she only has 6 right now, so Florida's got to be aware where she is here in the third quarter. I think the third quarter is going to be big for both teams.
I think what's interesting and something we haven't touched on a whole lot yet, Leilani Correa has not scored. Only
0
3
points
attempts.
right now.
That is SEC's leading scorer in conference games. She's not on the floor to start this half. Gators the original starting 5, Ole Miss the same. Madison Scott from the mid-range, can't connect. Rita Bakwe the rebound, got it stripped by Warren. Loose ball dangles out.
And Warren got knocked with an inadvertent, I think, arm on that rebound, trying to come down with it.
And Warren.
But they need Jariah Warren to stay in this game. She's a physical player for them. She's a little bit undersized, but she does a lot for them. You can see just to drive the basket, and then I think the elbow just kind of caught the mouth, nose area, just inadvertently trying to come down with the rebound.
Jariah Warren's been so key. Her 9th consecutive start today, the junior. Snutta Collins has yet to get going. Todd Williams, ball spits to the sideline. Broughton could not find a teammate.
And she goes out of bounds with it, doesn't want to turn the ball over. You don't want a live ball turnover. Yeah. It's a very smart play. That's a veteran play because she doesn't have anybody to throw it to. She throws it back in. Someone's out of position. You're either going to get someone a foul or they're going to get an easy 2 points. They can jump into a press. They can get momentum on their side. You just go ahead and go out of bounds with it and set up your defense. Like
Brittany mentioned, this has been the best quarter for Ole Miss. Here in the third. Gators in a zone, it looks like to start. To the perimeter, Collins. Offensive rebound.
Ole Miss getting second and third chance opportunities. Florida's going to have to get on the boards defensively. Great steal by Jariah Warren, though. Not allowing another look.
Offensive glass, 10 offensive rebounds. Broughton crashing to the cup. Ole Miss back the other way. Trailed by as many as 16 in that first half. Todd Williams gets fouled.
And Ole Miss doing what they do, getting to the free throw line, and they get to the free throw line off of a nice block on the defensive end, saying not tonight, Zippy Broughton.
That was the 4th Ole Miss block. It's a team that's 4th nationally with 6 blocks a game. A lot of that is Rita Ibakwe on the inside, the 5th-year center. Todd Williams to the stripe.
Now, Ole Miss knows how important this quarter is. Getting back to get back in this game.
Todd Williams, a tough last 2 games after 4 consecutive games in double figures. Transfer from North Carolina, big impact player for Coach Yo. 11 games in double figures this year. She has 8.
Foul to note. Ole Miss 10 of 12 from the free throw line. Florida 3 for 3. Only 2 players have been to the foul line for Florida.
Duke gets past Ibakwe. The stagnant positioning for Collins underneath for the charge.
Good positioning down low. Faith Duke now picking up her second with that charge. Down low, outside, just coming over a help side defense. Collins coming over, taking the charge. That's a good read. Good read by a veteran player. 5th year playing basketball. She knows how to read it defensively.
Active hands from Rimdahl. Broughton knocks it out. It's tough to create a charge nowadays. You got to be set and then some. That restricted arc doesn't come into play anymore.
No restricted arc in the women's game, so you have to be able to read defense really well, know when people are driving, and also really on film sessions, kind of watch people's tendencies. Florida's a team that likes to drive to the basket, so you want to know players' tendency, and that's how you can pick up fouls on them. But right now, this game, 34-28. Ole Miss continuing to fight back.
We'll see how long until Matharu and Correa hop off the bench. Travel. That's something Zippy's been called on a lot this year off the curl. And there they are.
And they're waiting to come in the game.
3 and 4 in the league in points per game. Waiting their time. That was the 17th Gator turnover.
And Florida's got to take care of the basketball here in the third quarter and get back defensively. That's a wide open layup on the backside from Madison Scott.
Ole Miss scoring the first 4 out of the break. Rimdahl has the answer.
And Birdie Rimdahl from outside quietly getting those 3-point shots, but she knew her team needed it. She got 8 points now, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line.
2 of 3 from deep after 3 of 6 the other day, so starting to look more like Birdie from behind the line. Todd Williams lumbers in, off-balance look. Marquisha Davis leaps and leans, dances out. Loose ball, Todd Williams has got it.
Dry Ward trying her best down low, undersized, but boy, is she fighting to try to get those rebounds. Florida's going to have to find a way to push Ole Miss out of right underneath the basket.
Rimdahl, no. Marquisha Davis off and running. One-on-one with Warren. Fights one up and off, but a foul. Chance to make it a one-possession game at the line here early in the third quarter.
You can see Ole Miss getting out in transition. Florida just loses the backside. Scott gets an open layup, but on the flip side, Birdie Rimdahl making the play in transition. Ole Miss doesn't get back. You're not going to guard her at the three-point line. She's going to say, hey, I'm letting this go. You have to get out on Birdie Rimdahl like that. She's going to shoot it every time she needs to.
Came in 28% from deep in SEC play, 31% overall.
And she's another player who, yeah, her numbers percentage-wise, not really great from the three-point line, but everybody knows on her team that she's a great three-point shooter. And I think even other teams know, hey, she can shoot the ball from outside. If we let her get open looks, she's going to knock down more than she misses. We can't just leave her open.
Well, of note, Correa Matharu watch has ended. They're both on the floor now. Took not even 3 minutes here in the third to get them on, down to a one-possession game. Here's Correa, has yet to score. Turns the corner, shovels one up and in.
I just flips that over her head. Ole Miss does a good job of pushing her off the line. Doesn't give her a straight line to the basket, but she's still able to creatively get those 2 points.
Only 4 attempts now. Davis tries to bail out a tough look on offense. Got it back. Another second chance for Ole Miss. Make it a third. Rimdahl gets fouled, and that's the third on Madison Scott.
It's scrappy down low. Ole Miss trying to get those rebounds. Florida not boxing out. If you're undersized, what you got to do is you got to get in there and you got to put a body on somebody and push them back. You're not out jumping this Ole Miss team right now. We're clearly seeing that. So Florida's got to put a body on people, push them back, let the ball even fall, and then grab it. Birdie Rimdahl does a good job of getting in there and kind of get a hand on the ball to knock it away, and then a loose ball foul.
Gator space the floor, looking to the high post for Duke. Familiar look of backdoor out of this look. Shot clock waiting down again. Rimdahl floats one short.
Good decision. You want to go at Scott right now. She has 3 fouls.
Davis had 23 in the first meeting.
Nice move.
Isolation with Correa. That was tough.
Nice move. Gets the defense off just enough with the crossover step back. Gets the shot to fall.
109th career game for Davis. Matharu. Oh, she'll take it from the hip off the glass. 17 now for Matharu. That leads all scorers.
Florida in a 2-3 zone. Giving Ole Miss a little bit of a different look. But Madison Scott said, hey, You're going to leave me open, free throw line extended. I'm catching, turnaround, shooting.
That's all day.
Yeah,
for
you
Madison
can't
Scott.
allow the ball right there in the middle of that zone.
It's turned into a good one possession game as we're almost midway through the third. Come on back to Gainesville. I mentioned this is one of the best quarters for Ole Miss all year. They've trimmed this down to a single possession. Gators once had a lead at 25-9. Since that point, Brittany Davis, it's been Ole Miss. Why is that?
Yeah, it really has been. They've picked up their defense. That's what they're known for. That's what she wants her team to be known for. And they've turned Florida over, 17 turnovers, and they have 18 points off those 17 turnovers. That's really the difference in the game right now. Florida's caused 16 turnovers, but only has 10 points off of them. Also, rebounding. Total rebounds has flipped the script to Ole Miss's favor, 26-17. Florida's got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball as they turn it over on cue and rebounding the basketball.
There's a foul called on Matharu.
No, on the baseline side, I thought maybe they called travel or step on.
That's Matharu's second. You see the turnover numbers at the bottom of your screen.
Florida going small right now with Ernie Kindred playing the center of that zone. You got Leilani on the backside with Jariah Warren, and then Zippy and Aaliyah Matharu. Those are the two people you want at the top of the key so they can pressure it up. But
that's two.
Getting another foul call.
Quick fouls on Aaliyah Matharu. So that's now 3. That's 5 in the quarter for the Gators. So Zakaya Stevenson will head to the foul line.
And talking about difference in the game, this is another one. Ole Miss getting to the foul line. Florida has not gotten to the foul line. Aaliyah Matharu has been there once. Faith Dude has been there once. Those are the only people for Florida to have been to the foul line.
While the turnovers are almost even, the points off turnovers are not. Ole Miss has doubled up the Gators in that category. That's now 20 points off turnovers. It's a 1-point game. Here's a foul on Collins. We will head to a break. Everybody reset here. Under 5 to go. 41-40. Florida in the lead. Come on back. 8-time in SEC play in double figures for Madison Scott. She's had double figures in 5 of her last 6. What has made her so effective?
And what's made her effective is her ability to get to the basket, but also she can hit the outside jumper, that free throw line extended area. She runs in transition so well. She's shooting 5 of 7 from the field, 17 minutes. I mean, she got plagued with a little foul trouble early, but boy, has she made Florida pay when she's gotten back into that game.
Look at some of the foul trouble on both sides. You have Scott and Collins for Ole Miss with 3. Matharu and Kindred with 3. Matharu just picking up her 3rd prior to this timeout. And it's a 1-point game.
One of the things that makes Scott just so special is the fact that she's playing that point guard position, but she also has the ability to post you up down low. She's really good around the block and finishing and rebounding the basketball.
Getting some suffocating defense in this 3rd from Ole Miss. Matharu glides down the lane, contorts, no. Rebound and a travel. Singleton fell down with it.
Great rebound, one-handed rebound at the top, but just can't come down with it, falls on the ground, so gets called with a travel.
I feel like the intensity is ratcheted up in a big way defensively for Ole Miss. They've made things really hard for Florida after really from the halfway point of the second quarter on.
Yeah, and then the reset at halftime, coming out in the 3rd quarter, they stepped it up even another notch.
Gators zip it around for Correa. And somewhat quiet tonight. Broughton grinds inside, flips one up and in.
Zippy with the athleticism going around the Ole Miss defense, strong to the middle of the paint, heart of that defense, and finishes strong.
Broughton after a season-high 16 on the road in Starkville, 6 tonight. Zakaya Stevenson elevates to the cup. A nice finger roll. Stevenson, the freshman guard. Seeing some big minutes here on the road. Gators 4-6 in the league, Ole Miss 6-4. Rebels trying to stay in that top 4 conversation here for the SEC tournament. Correa, bullseye!
And Zippy Broughton's ability to get to the middle of that defense, middle of the zone, or middle of the paint area, draws the defense in. Leilani Correa wide open on the 3-point line.
Matharu has the steal. Florida doesn't have numbers. Davis came in backside to knock it out. That was the first three-point attempt for Leilani Correa. We mentioned off the top, 55% from three in SEC play.
You can see it driving in, draws in 3.5 players. They come off of Leilani. She makes them pay from outside. Defense turns her head. You can see they turn right in to Zippy Broughton. It's the quickness that Zippy brings, because what did she do the time before? She went in there, she got an easy 2 points. So the defense collapses on her. That opens up other players for Florida.
Tharu takes a seat. Broughton, back door. Ole Miss really went to school on that LSU game. Leilani Correa had only 11 attempts from the floor. I wanted to try to maybe emulate what LSU was able to do, because other than that, nobody's been able to stop her.
No, not at all, but they have definitely slowed her down a lot here this evening. Only 5 points, 2 of 5 from the field. Nice rebound.
Sent to the rim. Rebound Warren. Gators patiently run their offense. Correa, jump stop floater.
They're constantly throwing their body at Leilani Correa when she's driving into the basket.
That's a shielding off underneath Tyus Singleton. The shielding off Faye Duke, so she couldn't get in front of Todd Williams. Near side officials saw it the whole time. Hasn't been a Mona Lisa painting tonight for either one of these teams, but I feel like we're due for a classic.
I mean, it's turned into a really close game. Florida up 16. You think, hey, maybe this is going to be a game where Florida again goes on 20-point win like they did last time out. But Ole Miss says, no. We're going to regroup. We're fighting back in this game on the road. We need this win, and now we've got a ball game.
Fourth time this year, Ole Miss has had at least 20 turnovers. And there's still almost 13 minutes to play. Madison Scott comes back in, and we highlighted coming back from break. One of 3 Rebels in double figures. And you see the points off turnovers. Big differential in favor of Ole Miss here. Ole Miss has yet to grab a lead. Warren holds on to it. Correa right on target. Starting to heat up for number 23.
Jariah Warren gets it down low. She doesn't go up and down. She drops the ball down. That's basketball IQ right there. Gets it around to the corner again. Ole Miss heads turn to where the ball is. Leilani Correa is again open in the same spot for a 3.
A 6-0 Leilani Correa run. Zakaya Stevenson accelerates to the cup. Off the mark. Loose ball. Ibakwe gets fouled.
Kyle, these second and third chance opportunities are what really is keeping Ole Miss in this game. I mean, Florida is unable to get consecutive, I feel like, times down the floor where they're boxing out, getting a rebound. They are letting Ole Miss get those second, third chance opportunities.
Yeah, the areas where you would say on paper Ole Miss would dominate. Free throw attempts, check. Offensive rebounds, check.
They have more offensive rebounds than they do defensive. They have 15 offensive rebounds right now.
And yet the Gators have never trailed tonight.
Yeah, and that's due to the fact that they came out strong in the first quarter. Went up 25-9, excuse me.
Bakwe comes up empty. Gators stretch this out to 7. Ole Miss got to as close as 1 at 41-40. Rindahl, back tap from Stevenson. Barks for it. That's how a point guard should act on the floor, right? Stevenson, investigative drive, stepped out. Now Ole Miss hitting a tough stretch. Scoreless last 2.5 minutes. Have had 5 turnovers in the last 3 minutes.
Both teams really struggling to take care of the basketball. 41 total turnovers right now. 21 for Ole Miss, 20 for Florida.
Ole Miss, threat of losing a 3rd consecutive league game. Won by 11 in Oxford against the Gators. They've won the last 4 in this series. Warren turns the corner to the cup, high off the glass. Duke gets an offensive rebound. Back tap to Scott.
And that's when I'm a little bit out of position. You want your big girl to take it up, back down low, but there's 2 players on it. Might would have wanted to pass that out if you're Faith Coop, but they get it back on the defensive end. And she, patted her chest and say, hey, I think I maybe should have.
Coach Yo must be just bubbling up to burst like a volcano right now.
She wanted to travel the last time down when Zippy Broughton was going to the lane.
Mentioned the job that
intense on the sidelines.
She has done. It's completely turned things around, Brittany. First 3 years, they were 7-39 in SEC play. Now they've gone to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. Reynolds travel.
She has really struggled with that foot, whether it's putting the ball down first and taking that step or driving to the basket, just drag the back foot on the drive. You like the attack by the freshman, but you got to be able to keep that dribble alive.
Marquisha Davis spears into Jariah Warren, who hits the deck. That'll be Jariah's second. Ole Miss just needing points right now. They're in the bonus. That was the 5th team foul. So free throws here for Marquisha Davis. I should say Ole Miss was already in the bonus. Davis perfect 4-4 tonight. 27 minutes at the line. Just 3 of 11 from the floor. Averaging 16 a game in SEC play. That's a team best. She shot it at nearly a 50% clip during conference play. Splits a pair. Who's got it? Ball volley back to Davis. Can't corral it. Rugby scrum on the logo. Correa was hit. Something's got to happen here. And a timeout for Coach Yo and Ole Miss. They preserved the possession. Correa kind of got jostled around in that pile.
She's right in front of us. She dove in and her shoulder kind of hit the body of an Ole Miss player is what it looked like from this angle. And so then she just kind of stopped going for it. Timeout for Florida so she can get checked out.
Leilani Correa was hit in that scrum. She's still in a seated position. John Michelini trying to make sure that she's okay. Ole Miss will preserve the possession here with 52.6 to go in the third quarter. Let's take another look at just what happened.
Loose ball, both players going for it.
Ooh.
Oh, she got kneed in the face. Yeah. I thought it was her shoulder, hitting shoulder, kind of maybe shoulder drops down, but just diving in and inadvertent knee kind of dove right into the knee to the face. It's gonna jostle you a little bit, but hopefully she's good to go.
Good thing for the Gators, they have a quarter break coming up.
Yeah, I mean the hustle for both teams. Yeah, just knee.
And Ayanna Thompson
Quad
knee
right
to the face.
Yeah. I can get a little bruise later on.
Correa's tough.
Yeah, she's staying in this. Hey, we got to stay in this game. Had a close game on our hands. Close out this third quarter and get to the fourth.
She's playing herself into being a WNBA draft pick. That's how good she has been in SEC play. 6-point game. So Ole Miss gets the possession, calling that timeout. Davis, stop and start, pulls up, rattles around and out. Again, Ole Miss rips it away. It's Todd Williams. Offensive rebounds continue to pile up in their favor. That was their 17th. Davis underneath the hoop, got 2 in the air.
That was a nice move. She fakes under to the left-hand side, goes back to the right, puts it in where no defense is. Florida has to rebound the ball defensively.
Yanked the emergency break, was able to lay it in. Gators will get the final look, presumably here of this quarter. We'll see if it's Correa who gets the final shot. Broughton attacks the rack. Lefty push. They get a whistle. For 3.8. This will be on Ibakwe.
And with this, Florida's gone to the line once in the first quarter, once in the second quarter, now once in the third quarter. I mean, Ole Miss's ability to get to the line has really got them back into this game, the way that they attack and the way that, Florida kind of fouls on the defensive end. Ole Miss is taking advantage of. They're 15 of 20 from the free throw line. Florida's 3 of 3.
You have a lethal combination of Florida fouls more than any other team in the league, plus Ole Miss gets to the line with the best of them.
Absolutely. And boy, is Ole Miss rebounding the ball really well here. And like I said, the second quarter and the third quarter, Florida was winning that battle in the first quarter, not anymore.
Final seconds, Davis. Gators have the lead through 3. Still 10 minutes to play. This has been a fun one. What do we have in store in the final 10 minutes? Gators looking for their 5th league win. Ole Miss trying to snap a 2-game slide. Gators trying to grab a big home win, have the lead headed to the 4th. Everybody's loving the hats. As the giveaway today, we had the hats on before. I'm going to give mine to our director, Jeremy Otter. So he's got to pay for it, though. Leilani Correa doesn't have to pay for anything here in Gainesville. How about this? All 8 of her points coming in the 3rd quarter. Ole Miss did a great job on Leilani in the 1st half.
Great job defensively on her. She had no points in the 1st half. In the 3rd quarter, she said, I've got to get on the score sheet. My team needs me to score. She knocked down some big shots for them. 8 points, I think 2 threes. Both from that wing area on the left-hand side. They found her. She knocks them down. They're going to need a big 4th quarter from her.
Turnovers have remained the same, but you look at the rebounding margin in this quarter alone, 16-3 in favor of Ole Miss and a 9-1 edge in offensive rebounds. Yet, Florida has never trailed in this game. Both teams have turned it over at an incredibly high rate as we now head to the 4th. Matharu, Correa, both on the floor to start this quarter.
The quarter is trying to get the ball to Leilani. Tried to feed it into Matharu down low. Ole Miss made a suffocating job defensively.
Shot clock waning down. Matharu had it taken away by Singleton. Add that one to the tally. The shove off, no whistle. Scott steps in. Davis passes up the open 3. Weaves in the trees. Scott snatches it away and lays it in.
And Scott right now doing some work on the boards. Hitting the rebound, no one around in a Florida uniform. She skies up, gets it, puts it back.
Fallon, front court on Marquisha Davis.
You can see just skying up. No one marks her on the backside. You've got to mark her, got to put a body on her. 16.6 rebounds right now. That was a big one.
It's a team that struggles overall percentage-wise, but if you give them 2nd and 3rd opportunities, they're going to eventually score. Correa working off the ball. Kennedy Todd Williams gets the assignment. Matharu bumped by Collins. Nothing easy right now. Correa in the corner. An air ball short. And a chance to tie with a 3 here. And a takeaway. Matharu like a safety in football. Bumps in, lays it up and off, but 2 shots.
Florida wanted that 3-point play, but what a read by Aaliyah Matharu. You've got to be aware, if she's on the court, you've got to know that she's in that area. You don't want to really throw it near her side. That's a great read for a steal. It just reads it, like you said, like a safety. Off of the help side defense, pulls it up, and then gets herself to the line. I rolled all the way around the rim. Getting the body contact, tossing it up. She's so good at getting to the rim. A lot of times those are and ones for her.
You almost had the pick 3, we'll call it. The and 1. Get 2 shots here at the line. 17 tonight for Matharu. Has been the top scorer for most of the year since Correa's recently taken that moniker of overall scoring. Both top 5 in the league in points per game.
Both definitely have the ability to fill up that score sheet.
Kelly Rae Finley looking for what would be her 2nd win all-time against Ole Miss. One of those coming in what was a year where the coaching staff got COVID and she was elevated to being the head coach. That was in Oxford that year. Madison Scott, mid-range. Another offensive board. Singleton dips in, able to get 2.
And with that, a second chance opportunity, they get another 2 points. That was their 19th offensive rebound of the game.
Consistently keeping Ole Miss in this game.
Florida has a total of 19 rebounds.
Duke rummages inside, has the response. And the isolation at the top of the key. You look at this box score, you're going to need to do a double take at some of the things that you see. It's not your conventional box score. Davis slides inside. Duke trying to grab it. And this is a whistle over the top, I believe, on Faye Duke.
They're not calling a foul. They're just saying I think she was out of bounds. I'm not really sure, but you can see the offensive rebound, and that leads to an easy 2 points back. And then down here on the drive, Faith Duke takes advantage and say, I'm going to drive to the basket. We got to get some points up.
Yeah, you're right, Brittany. I don't think they called a foul on Faith Duke. They say she had possession and was out.
Her foot was on the line.
Ole Miss will space it, 5 out. The mid-range artist, Madison Scott. Slashes all the way in, dangles out. Singleton, another offensive rebound. Doesn't get the whistle. Loose ball, Todd Williams, a third try. When one or two is not enough, how about a third?
How about three? Ole Miss, the hustle that they are playing with on the offensive end. Again, percentages not in their favor, but boy, when they get those offensive rebounds, the percentage numbers go higher and higher because they are right by the basket to get putbacks.
Jariah Warren at the table. I feel like that's a toughness piece Florida might need right now on the glass. 8 to shoot, brought into 3. High arcing and an air ball. And a chance to tie with a 3 here for Ole Miss.
We're going to press up. Oh, they're saying it's Florida ball. Okay, I was like, they're going to press up, but Ole Miss is open, so you want to get some people back. But they're going to say it was tipped.
4 on the shot clock, Brittany, so this is going to have to be a quick hoist here. Jariah Warren comes in.
This is a big possession for Florida. You're up 3, you can go up 5 or 6. You can get a 3-point shot.
Matharu got bumped.
Foul, there you go.
Boy, that's a
bailout for.
Yeah, with 1.7 to shoot, Brittany.
And not a smart play for Ole Miss. Smart play by Leah Matharu. Yeah, kind of took a little bump and right in front of that sideline referee in front of her bench, and that's her 4th foul.
Yeah, Snudda Collins picks up 4.
Which is big.
And if you talk about free throws down the stretch, the Gators have only taken 7. Ole Miss is 20. That's their 3rd team foul with 6:57 to go in the quarter. Gators have none. Correa gets it back, and that's the 4th team foul. So one away from putting the Gators in the bonus, and that was Collins who picks up her 5th foul.
And that's why you see the emotion on her face right now, because she reaches in, and with that, that's her 5th foul.
So you could be talking about a lot of Gator free throws down the stretch when they have not taken many through almost 3.5 quarters. Collins fouls out with just 2 points. This has been a nightmare possession for Ole Miss. Timer's on. Miscommunication. Matharu rescues it.
Florida's got to calm down a little bit here in the 4th quarter.
Matharu pulls up, can't hit. Ole Miss clears. Chance to tie with a 3. They don't take many of them. Todd Williams lost it in flight. Plinko's on down.
And if I'm Florida, I'm going to kind of let them look. They don't shoot the ball well from the 3-point line, and their best 3-point shooter probably just found out at the game in Collins. So you really don't want them to be driving to the basket. They're a much higher percentage driving the basket.
Yeah, their game plan coming in for Florida, as it is for a lot of teams against Ole Miss, pack the paint. They're 0 of 7 from 3 tonight.
They want to get a back screen, on-ball screen, high screen to work with. Get the mismatch that they want.
Runs into a double, lost it.
They get the mismatch that they want early on in Faith Duke, but Zippy Broughton leaves hers and goes and doubles down, and as a result is a turnover.
Broughton turns the corner, and a foul.
On the floor, Florida gets it underneath out of bounds.
And in the moments when
they call it a shooting. They called it shooting?
Well, that was
shooting. I just didn't know if they called it early.
It was the 5th team foul nonetheless. So the Gators in the bonus for the final 6:07. That's why these fouls early in the quarter so big.
6 minutes left. So Florida, who has not been that aggressive getting those fouls, they're going to have to try to be aggressive and get the foul calls, because then you go to the line every time.
Foul was on Stevenson. Broughton splits a pair. Gators as a team 70% from the line. Ole Miss has been as close as one has never led. Correa gets the steal. A 1-on-2. Correa attacks the rack. Too strong and a block. More free throws coming up.
Good defense by Florida. Converts it down to a transition. Didn't really have the numbers, but Florida goes ahead and gets that foul call. So Leilani Correa is going to be able to go to the foul line. You see dribbling down Madison Scott. She thinks she has an outlet, but they're not even looking for the ball. And Leilani grabs it and goes and then gets that blocking call.
It's been a total of 47 turnovers in this game.
Yeah, there's been a lot of turnovers.
Correa, who shoots it this year 77%.
And neither team is really taking care of the basketball. But it's been almost an even turnover battle.
Correa, meanwhile, scratching her way to double figures. She's going to promptly come out for Layla Reynolds.
And with the turnovers, both teams, Ole Miss 23 points off turnovers, and Florida has 20. So at least that's staying competitive for both teams.
Free throw line, offensive rebounds, those are keeping Ole Miss in this game. You see points off turnovers. Scott gets the switch on Duke. Todd Williams. Rimdahl gets the assignment. Investigative drive. Over the shoulder. They get a foul. That'll go on Rimdahl.
Rimdahl doesn't like that call too much. Looking back, kind of, how did I get that foul?
One of those prime suspects that Ole Miss will look to down the stretch offensively. Kennedy Todd Williams was ejected in the first half of their last game on a kind of wayward, flailing arm. After review, is tossed out. Back tonight. Had a career season last year. 13 per game at North Carolina. Correa comes back in. That was one of those, Leilani, you don't really need to sit down when you go to the bench. You just stay there for a few seconds, come right back on in.
Get some water, come back in.
It's an offensive substitution.
It's like when you're, a little elementary, say, hey, go to the water fountain, get some water, come back in and play.
Just keep stretching out, you'll be in. Correa turns the corner. Broughton lines it up. Approaching the midway mark in the fourth quarter. Davis bumps in, fights one up to the glass, and it's back to a three-point game.
Really big bucket for Ole Miss. On the road, they're fighting and scrapping. They were down early in this game, but they have fought back.
Leilani Correa getting to 2,000 career points on that free throw make, getting her to 10. So a milestone for Leilani. Warren in the corner. She rips it.
Something you don't see often of Jariah Warren. She does shoot 40% from the three-point line, but she doesn't shoot it often. But they needed that bucket. She shot it a little bit more lately in the past couple games, so I think feeling more and more comfortable with that three-point shot.
Gators have hit 9 threes. Todd Williams stays on the pivot foot. Correa knocks it out. That'll send us to a break.
Jariah Warren in this quarter right now knocks down a huge three. She says, hey, I'm open in the quarter. I'm knocking it down. My team needs me.
Big storyline in this game in favor of Ole Miss, offensive rebounding. Second half, Brittany, a 14-1 edge on the offensive glass.
And the extra effort that Ole Miss has had, offensive possessions, to keep possessions alive has been, outstanding. They've gotten to the glass, extra effort, giving them the extra 2 points. They have 22 total offensive rebounds. Florida only has 20 rebounds. And so, they are doing all that they can to get in to this game and take the lead. Florida's just been able to hold them off enough.
And you mentioned this, 22 offensive rebounds for Ole Miss to 20 total rebounds for Florida.
That's a number that is just staggering.
Huge difference. Gators have hit 9 threes. Ole Miss 0 for 7 from the arc. We'll get a foul upon entry on Jariah Warren.
And right now, it's really kind of possession basketball. I know there's 4 minutes left, but possessions matter right now in a game like this with the way that Ole Miss is rebounding the basketball, because they're getting second and third chance opportunities possession-wise. So Florida offensively has to be careful with the basketball.
Todd Williams in the corner, long 2.
And they get another one.
It's incredible. They average 15 total a game. Offensive rebounds. Scott down the lane, converts.
And making Florida pay when they get those offensive rebounds.
14 second chance points. Gators looking for a third straight SEC win for the first time in 2 seasons. Matharu just lost it out of bounds.
And that's what I'm talking about. Those are the possessions Florida cannot have in this game right now. Because it's not, you've got to hold Ole Miss to one and done. And
Todd
Ole Miss
Williams has that jersey untucked, Brittany. She's played a long shift tonight. Davis around a screen, elbow J. Who's got it?
Come up with another.
Singleton got stripped.
Singleton says she wants a foul, but Florida trying to get a hand in. If they bring it down, get the tip away.
I can't think of any one-and-done possessions in this half.
Yeah, and that's why Florida has to take care of the basketball.
Credit Ole Miss.
I mean, you got to credit
energy,
them.
effort on the glass all night.
I mean,
Matharu knew it was off the mark, out of her hands. Davis comes up with it. Inside the final 3 minutes. Crucial pivot point game for both of these teams. Singleton, well off.
That's the shot you want to give, but you got to get the rebound. And Florida does that time.
Kelly Ray Finley trying to get this team to settle into a half-court set. Matharu jets inside, lost the ball. Warren comes out of the fray. Oh, and timeout for Kelly Ray Finley.
That's good because Leilani does not hit that shot. Yeah, she can see, hey, we're getting a little chaotic here on offense. We've got to slow down. We've got to run some offense. We've got to get a point in this offensive set.
It's been an odd game, to say the least, but it's been fun because these are two teams that have built up, you think of Ole Miss, right? Along with Florida, they were both in the bottom of the league early in the tenure of Coach Yo, and Florida's trying to build their program. They had a great season 2 years ago. But you look at what Ole Miss has become, a consistent team in that conversation of a double bye in the SEC tournament and a real contender to make a deep run in March.
And they do it not really flashy. They do it defensively. They want to hold you. They want to make it scrappy. They want to hold you to below your average. Right now, Florida is below their average in SEC play and in overall. Florida averages 76 points, almost 77 points per game.
Warren, high post. Shot clock waning down to 5. Broughton with 2. A chance to cut this to 1 possession here. Shot to turn on the inside for Thompson for the tip back. Madison Scott gets the bucket. Gators promptly turn it over. A chance to tie. Davis down the lane to the rim. Wild look. Scott can't grab it as Broughton comes out of the crowd in a timeout.
Kelly Ray Finley says, hey, we need a timeout. We're turning the ball over. We're under 2 minutes. Only up 2. Got to take care of the basketball. And really have to be not one and done. Florida's got to, if they shoot the ball, they've got to rebound the ball offensively. Down the stretch, Ole Miss, they get the reverse, but again, I mean, bodies are not.
That was an inadvertent bucket right there, right?
They're going for the rebound. And who they give it to?
Gave it to Scott.
Singleton was around there too.
You think of the importance of this game. Ole Miss has Mississippi State coming up on their home floor on Sunday. They want to move to 7-4 in a tie in the standings with State. Then you look on the Gator side of things. A win would be their 3rd consecutive, and then the rest of their schedule, only one team that's above 500. They could really make a push to the NCAA tournament with a win here today. Back-to-back, or I should say 3 straight resume-boosting wins.
Resume boosters. Eyes are on you right now. You got the NCAA tournament just around the corner, the SEC tournament as well. You got those seedings for both. Could be a big statement win for Florida here on their home court.
This is the final stretch of 3 games against teams over 500. Gators can go 3-0. Grimdahl bends inside, minimal alleyway, too strong. And numbers momentarily here for Ole Miss, a chance to tie with a 2. Todd Williams for the lead, you bet.
A long 2, foot on the line. Yeah, referee right away said 2. You could see it from here, but she had 2 fingers up.
They originally put 61 on the scoreboard, but it's a 2. Tie game. Gators trying to find an answer. No points in the last 3.5 minutes. Ole Miss has never led. Shot clock again. Dripping down, rimmed onto the cup again, too strong. And a chance for the first lead of the night.
They're going to get across half, call timeout.
Todd Williams gets it across. Timeout. Yolette McPhee-McEwen. Ole Miss had gotten to the doorstep, but they have never been able to take a lead.
Let's see. Kick out. Florida's going to give that up. I mean, it looks like a 3. Her foot's on the line, so it's definitely a 2. Foot half over. Ref called it right away. But, I mean, that's a shot you're really going to kind of give up against this Ole Miss team. And right now, the key for Florida is you've got to rebound the basketball, and you cannot foul on a drive. No foul, but you've got to secure a defensive rebound.
Those 2 very big numbers you see, 2 timeouts for Florida and 2 fouls to give. None of that for Ole Miss.
And that's the thing. If Ole Miss fouls, you're going to the foul line. So you've got to play that game, but you have got to play defense if you're Florida without fouling and secure a rebound. And if you're Ole Miss, I mean, you're just doing what you're doing. Get to the rim and then get the offensive rebound for a putback. I mean, that's where they've been living right now.
Okay, what's the look here? What's Coach Yo drawing up?
I mean, I think ball's going to be in Scott's hands. Yeah, she's got 20 points. She can be a distributor. Let her decide if she has a lane to the basket or if she has a kick out. You know, you got Davis has 15. She's shooting the ball well, 5 of 18 from the field. I mean, you got 3 players who really are scoring right now for Ole Miss.
One off a career high for Madison Scott. That's an SEC high 20 points. A chance to take their first lead of the night with 47.2 to go.
Scott's going to inbound the ball, but if you're Florida, you want to deny her a pass back.
Tonight also her 3rd double-double with 10 rebounds.
Look for Todd Williams as well.
Todd Williams flashes to it. They get it into Singleton.
Right, so then you want to deny out if you can get it into Singleton.
Scott, high post look. Todd Williams works inside, lefty push, rebound Jariah Warren. Again, the Gators have timeouts, but they call a foul. So free throws now.
Oh, no, they called the timeout first.
Well, the baseline official had a fist skyward.
Yep. Oh, so he's saying 2 before the foul. Okay.
They were
before the timeout, because the one in front of me called and pointed to the timeout. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the Gators were about a half or a millisecond away from getting the timeout to advance it.
You can see what a great rebound by Jariah Warren. And I'm not sure, these are big free throws for Florida.
Jariah Warren, 65% this year. Her first. Too long.
All right, so really, foul might benefit Ole Miss right now. Because now Florida can't run time off the clock.
No timeouts for Ole Miss, so they cannot advance. Warren gives the Gators the lead once again. Again, Ole Miss, no timeouts. So they have to go the length of the floor here and set something up.
Hey, Coach Keller Finley shoots up one stop. We need one stop right now.
Gators have 2 timeouts remaining and 2 fouls to give. Scott pulls up and connects. Gators have a timeout to burn here. Broughton brings it into front court and a timeout with 17 seconds to go. And Ole Miss has taken a lead for the first time tonight.
What a clean shot by Scott. I mean, just rose up above the defense, knocks it down. I mean, nothing but the bottom of the net. That was a pretty easy shot for her.
A new career high for Madison Scott on the biggest bucket of the night to give Ole Miss their first lead.
A screen at the top of the key, middle of the free throw line. Faith Dude steps up, doesn't foul, shoots it over her, but that's that tall frame of Scott. I mean, she's so tall that, you know, Faith Dude with the hand in the face, she can see over.
So there's a lot of different ways you can play this year. Obviously, any sort of shot in a one-point game, but if you don't get any points here, You could foul right away. You'd still have a timeout to advance, and any made free throws would still make it a one-possession game.
Absolutely. And I think, Florida, you got to look to drive to the basket. You've got to look to say, hey, because any foul, you go to the foul line. So, you put it in your free throw shooting hands that can drive to the basket, which really is, you got a Leah Matharo out there, you got Zippy Broughton out there, and you have Leilani Correa, all players who shoot the ball really well, and now they're going out on the floor also. You got Birdie Rimdahl, who shoots the ball really well from the free throw line as well. So I think you put it in any of those hands, let them drive to the basket, get a layup or a foul.
You have 2 of the top 5 scorers in the league. You don't have any limited options here if you're the Gators. 17 seconds to go. Gators have 1 timeout, but they also have fouls to give. So if you foul right away after a miss, no free throws yet. The Gators got into their movements early. That's a mistake.
Now they see what it is.
Exactly.
That's someone behind us just said, you just let them know what they were doing.
That's a mistake. Somebody there.
You knew they were going to get the ball to Ali off the down screen, the way it was set up.
Matharu. Davis into a double. Fights in and 1.
And the crowd, the bench, they say it all. Aliyah Matharu, she's a gamer. She takes the ball one-on-one, makes a little move, drives to the basket. Defensive help comes, and Scott, she goes in, says, hey, give me that, and give me one from the line.
Gators go to number 2 for the biggest bucket of the night, and a chance to make this a 2-point game. No timeouts for Ole Miss.
Big play. She draws the contact in, and even if she didn't get the foul, she gets the 2 points. That's big.
Gators also have fouls to burn here.
Yeah.
But again, only a 2-point game if Matharu makes it, and she does. Final seconds. Crowd on their feet. Scott. Davis with 3. Davis bumps in, fades and fires. She's got it with .2.
And looking over to the sideline, Florida, they wanted a foul. They wanted a foul before it was getting into the play of the motion to stop the game, make them inbound the ball again, not be in the flow of their offense, I think. And no one saw that they wanted to foul. That's a great shot. Defense helps up again over Faith Duke, the long extended arm. Davis knocks it down.
Cold-blooded.
That was nice.
Madison Scott gave Ole Miss a lead. Gators took it right back. And then Marquisha Davis to tie it right up at 64. Now, .2, you don't have enough time to catch and shoot. This has got to be a lob to the rim. Oh, they put .5 on.
That's big.
That's huge because that's an opportunity then to catch and shoot.
Yeah, for Florida, the assistant coach, Dan goes over, he says, hey, there needs to be more time on the clock. We call it timeout quicker, knowing that gives an advantage to Florida. Big time right here, big time.
Leilani Correa to inbound. See if this is a lob to the rim here. .5. Correa intercepted by Scott. And the game clock hits zeros. And we are going to overtime. This game has turned out to be a good one. Ole Miss had never led until the final minute. Scott has words with the official. Marquisha Davis with the game-tying bucket. Gators and Rebels with a classic here tonight. And Davis, the big jumper, to send it to an extra session. Ole Miss and Florida tied at 64. It's turned into a good one as we head to overtime. This will be the first time that the Rebels and the Gators have played an overtime game this year. Brittany, you think of the final minutes of this game. The big bucket from Madison Scott to give Ole Miss a lead. Then the and one from Aliyah Matharu. Then Marquisha Davis comes back with a mid-range jumper. Just SEC stars going back and forth.
That's the basketball you want to see. SEC play is big. And it just means a little bit more. Just means more here in the SEC. And you can see players, you can see it on their face. They know the importance of this game. Stars are coming to shine. Aliyah Matharu, that was a huge and one. Made free throw. You got to step to the line, hit those shots. And now we're here for 5 more.
You know what's key, Brittany, is the fouls carry over here in overtime. So the Gators only have 2 team fouls, but the Gators will be in the bonus to start overtime.
And that's where, if you're Florida, you really, really want to take advantage of, and you really, really want to box out on the offensive end, because that's really where Ole Miss kind of got back in this game and has dominated on the offensive glass with 25 offensive rebounds.
Both teams get 1 timeout in this extra session. Singleton and Jute at the jump circle. This is how we started. A little over 2 hours later, it's how we start overtime. Ole Miss outscoring Florida in the 3rd and in the 4th quarter to tie this thing up. Thompson rumbles in, too strong on the lay-in. Warren secures the rebound.
That's what they need her to do. Get in there, get offensive rebound, or defensive rebounds, excuse me, and offensive, but.
With Thoru the pull-up. Scott, a career night, 22 points. Todd Williams stops, floats. Back tap, Todd Williams rescues it. 2nd and 3rd chance opportunities for the Rebels all night. Davis rolls in a jumper.
And what Ole Miss has been so good at is converting on the 2nd and 3rd chance opportunities that they are getting.
Gators have not had many clean looks in the second half. Matharu sends it across the lane, the swat, but Scott picks up the foul.
Yeah, I mean, you got to credit Ole Miss defense. They picked it up in the second half, really second quarter on, but second half they picked it up defensively, not allowing Florida to get really good, clean looks. You talked about it, and offensively, and that was a nice pass. And because of that, they were out of position. Ole Miss was defensively, and Madison Scott picks up her 4th. And
that's big.
That's big. So Florida, I mean, I can't say it enough. You got to offensively kind of go at her, see if she'll pick up her 4th, or her 5th, excuse me, get her out of the game.
Matharu comes out, Fate Doot misses the 1st. She's a 73% foul shooter. Rebels lead at 1. Rebels trying to slash a 2-game losing streak. Florida looking for a 3rd consecutive win. Gators settle in a zone. Davis has been so clutch down the stretch. Pulls up. Yep.
Right.
She's cold-blooded. Marquisha Davis.
Right over free throw line, middle of the free throw line, steps around a little kind of brush screen.
Davis just rips it away from Broughton. Kayla Ray Finley telling her team just 1 stop. The Madison Scott Show. Met on a switch, has the size advantage with Broughton. Rolls that one in. Mid-range assassin.
She's been sensational in this game. Fought through some foul trouble. Has managed to stay on the floor. Rises above the defense. Knocks down her 24th point.
Game best lead at 5. Comes in overtime. Gators look to Correa. Down the lane. Well too strong.
And now Ole Miss, they're slowing it down a little bit. She's hands up. Hey, we got to run some clock. Only 2 minutes left. And we're up 5.
Shot clock at 5. Thompson. A lot of dribbling with 1. Todd Williams gets the shot off just in time. Doot a 3. Off the mark. Once again, Ole Miss will stay patient.
And Aaliyah Matharu waiting to come into this game, but there hasn't been a stoppage of play.
Scott rumbles inside. We'll get a foul.
And Jariah Warren trying to get the shove off on the drive to the basket, gets thrown to the side. Doesn't get that call, but Faith Duke comes over, gets what she thinks is a block, but gets called with a foul.
You got the sense the Gators were just hanging on for dear life in regulation because of the rebounding battle. And that if it went to an extra session, that Ole Miss might just impose their will. Madison Scott at the stripe, 71%. Trying to add to a career night. 25.
And 11 rebounds.
Scott, her 25th career double-double. Look at the efficiency in the bottom left of your screen, 10 of 14. Has both, and it's up to 7. Gators outscored 8-1 in overtime. Matharu goes coast to coast, and Davis able to save it.
Florida just in the overtime, unable to get shots to fall consistently. Ole Miss able to burn the clock down because they've hit some shots, so they're looking to use as much of the clock as they can.
On a 6-0 run here in overtime, and the Gators give the foul. Kennedy Todd Williams is 75%. And that was just the 4th, so they had 1 to burn. And that'll be the 5th team foul. So free throws here for Kennedy Todd Williams. 3 of 6 at the line tonight, and that is probably their best bet to get them to miss some free throws if you're Florida.
And then you got to get up and you got to score quick.
Kennedy Todd Williams with 16 tonight. They've had 2 with 20 plus. Big second half in overtime for Marquisha Davis with 21. And it looks like Ole Miss might just sneak out of here with a win.
I mean, took their first lead, I think, with seconds left, 52 seconds left in the game.
Only led for north of 3 minutes. The Gators just can't buy anything in overtime. Foul is given to Madison Scott.
Oh, yeah. So they led, but then the last time they led was with, yeah.
The first lead that Ole Miss had was at 61-60.
And then kind of just took off and never looked back. Not a great overtime segment for Florida, giving up 10 points.
But without
only
those
scoring 1.
2 crucial baskets in regulation late, Scott and then Davis the biggest after Matharu and 1. That's why we're still playing.
Absolutely.
Scott splits a pair. Lead is up to 10.
In a game that really wasn't a 10-point Ole Miss game. But credit them for fight. Good take by Liam Matharu.
Gators have to foul right away. Want to try and extend this game. That's your suspect to foul, Tyus Singleton. Not really sure what the Gators are doing here, unless they don't want to extend the game. You just let a whole lot of time go off.
Whole lot of time. I mean, credit Ole Miss fighting back. Down 16 in the first quarter. They come back, make it a close game at half, and then are able to come back, take it to overtime in a game that, you know, they didn't lead for much of. Florida had the lead for the majority of the game.
Todd Williams again. Trying to leave the door open for Florida, 75% at the line. Ole Miss, this will be their 30th attempt of the night at the free throw line. 19.4. Matharu with 3. Shoots put back, no. Rimdahl tries to save and cannot. So that should do it. Timeout, Ole Miss with 10.8 to go in OT. And we will step aside. Final seconds of overtime right after this. It's been all Rebels here in this overtime. They outscored the Gators 12-3 in this extra session. And they've completely taken control of the game that they did not have a lead in until the final minute.
Now, they didn't have control in the game till that very end, but then they took it and they have not looked back. And, you know, how'd they do it? They did it on the offensive glass, Kyle. They dominated the offensive glass, getting what they wanted. They getting the first shot, they were getting the second or third shot. 27, 26 offensive rebounds.
Took a lead with 21 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Coach Yo on that bench is going to start to celebrate a Rebel victory here in overtime. Get them to 7-4 and set up what is going to be a fun clash on Sunday of two 7-4 teams out of the state of Mississippi from Oxford.
That's going to be fun. That is going to be a really good basketball game. I mean, just both teams, that heated battle, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, battling for position in the SEC.
Marquisha Davis, the encore performance tonight against the Gators at 23 earlier this year, 21 tonight. And the biggest bucket of them all to tie the game and send it to overtime. Final seconds. 3 from Broughton. What a gritty, gutty win for the Ole Miss Rebels on the road. 5th straight win over Florida. Dominate the glass, and Coach Yo is fired up for good reason. Ole Miss now to 7-4 in the SEC.
Now, Ole Miss came in. They struggled in the first half. They finished strong. They got that lead, never looked back with a couple minutes left or a minute left in the fourth quarter, took it to overtime. I mean, they fought hard, and they did it on the defensive end.
Game that wasn't pretty at times, but boy, it was fun down the stretch. Florida came oh so close to winning this one in regulation, but the Rebels win it in overtime by 10. Fan to watch the entire game on replay as well as other games on the SEC Network. Download the ESPN app. For Jeremy Otter, our entire SEC Network crew, for Brittany Davis, I'm Kyle Crooks saying so long from Gainesville. Ole Miss wins it in OT.